On February 3rd, 2024, Penguin Trucking, a small carrier out of Illinois, picked up a load from what they thought was a legitimate broker. The paperwork looked real, the rate was agreed upon, everything seemed normal. But what Penguin Trucking didn't know was that they had just walked into a massive scam. A fake broker had actually tricked both Penguin Trucking and another company, E.L. Hollingsworth, into booking the exact same load at different rates. By the time that both companies realized that they had been scammed, Penguin Trucking had already picked up this load. It's at this point the trucking company did what made the most sense for their business. They cut a deal directly with the shipper and delivered the load to them. But when E.L. Hollingsworth heard about this, they retaliated in the worst way possible. An angry broker at this company filed a fake report against Penguin Trucking on one of the most notorious platforms in the trucking industry, Carrier 411. That single fake report blacklisted Penguin Trucking from booking loads, it cost them shipper contracts, and it nearly destroyed their entire business overnight. And after a year of legal battles, lost customers, and thousands of dollars in lawyer fees, Penguin Trucking finally won their case in court and was awarded $612,400 in damages. Now, the reason I'm telling you this story is not because Penguin Trucking won. It's because thousands of carriers lose to this exact same scam every single year, and most of them never recover. This case is just one of those rare times when a trucker actually fights back and wins. But for every Penguin Trucking, there are hundreds of carriers, hundreds of owner-operators who get blacklisted, they lose their contracts, and they go out of business, all because of this one platform, Carrier 411. That's why in this video, I'm going to expose exactly what Carrier 411 does, how brokers abuse it, and how it's only getting worse every single day. But real quick, before we jump in, I just want to give a quick shout out to the sponsor of today's video, my own company, Dispatcher University. If you're a truck dispatcher or you just want to learn how I made $1.4 million dispatching trucks in 2023, I've put together a completely free truck dispatching course that walks you through everything step by step. So how to find carriers, how to book loads, how to set up your entire business from scratch with less than $500. Over 7,000 dispatchers have already gone through this free course, and they've gotten some insane results that you can see right here. So if you're interested and if you want to join for free, just go to school.com/guild22 or just click the first link in the description below. Anyways, with that out of the way, let's get back into Carrier 411, because before you can protect yourself from it, you need to understand how it actually works. So what is Carrier 411? Well, it's just an online platform that brokers use to vet trucking companies. So you as a trucker, before you're able to work with the broker is going to check your MC authority on a platform like Carrier 411. They're going to check to make sure that your MC is active, that you have insurance on file. They're going to check a few other details just to make sure that you're a legitimate business, you're a legitimate trucking company. Now, if that's all it did, no one would have a problem with it. Okay, truckers would love it, brokers would love it. It would really clean up the industry. However, there's another little feature that Carrier 411 allows that has been the bane of truckers' existence. Brokers can actually leave reviews about carriers on this platform. Now you might be thinking to yourself, okay, well, that's not a big deal. You know, a lot of companies allow that. But these reviews are not just normal reviews. It's not like a Yelp review or a Google review where the business can actually respond. They can respond to customer complaints, they can provide their own proof, and you can have a back and forth and see who's right. Carrier 411, on the other hand, operates completely differently. The brokers that use this platform, they're able to file these things called freight guard reports. And these freight guard reports are much deadlier than a review, okay? These reports act like a blacklist warning for other brokers. So even if you get one freight guard report against your trucking company, it can be extremely damaging. So if a broker labels you, the carrier, the trucker, as a scammer, as unreliable, or as a double broker, other brokers who see that report will refuse to work with you. They're going to take that report at face value. And think about it, there's literally nothing you can do because carriers are not allowed to create an account on Carrier 411. They're not allowed to use their platform. You as a trucker, you have no option to log into this platform and see the reports that have been filed against your trucking company. You're completely left in the dark. And if you try to call Carrier 411, if you try to call their support number, your number is going to get immediately blocked. If it sounds like I'm making this stuff up or if I'm exaggerating, you can read this for yourself on their own website. okay? They are very anti-carrier, very anti-trucker. Now, if you're a broker watching this video, you might be thinking to yourself, well, okay, for me as a broker, this still seems like a good vetting system. You know, it's still good to vet carriers to make sure that they're legitimate companies that I'm working with. Well, that's where you're completely wrong. Carrier 411 as a platform is completely broken, and there's 3 reasons why, okay? These are the 3 major problems that I have with this platform. Starting with the first and probably the biggest problem I have with it, brokers can post false reports with 0 proof. If you didn't know, Carrier 411 and platforms like it are protected under something called Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act. Now, I'm not going to bore you with the details, but essentially what this act provides, the protection it provides, is that platforms are not held responsible for the false information that is spread by its users. It's the same reason why you can't sue Facebook if someone, makes an account on Facebook, they spread some fake information about your business, and it hurts your business. You can't go after Facebook, but you can go after the user. So if you think about it, if Carrier 411 is not going to be held legally responsible for what brokers use or brokers say on its platform, and brokers make up 100% of this company's revenue, they have no incentive to protect carriers. They have no incentive to do what's quote unquote right. They know that they will make more money if they help brokers gain more leverage over truckers, okay? And this is exactly why they don't require brokers to submit any sort of evidence when they're filing a freight guard report. Because again, a broker can lie about you, they can completely lie about you, and blacklist your entire company, and Carrier 411, they're not gonna do anything about it. They're not gonna check to make sure if the report is real. There's no way for you to report any brokers, any bad actors in their platform, so they're just gonna look the other way. Your business, on the other hand, it could be destroyed overnight because of one false report. Again, I'm not exaggerating. Stuff like this happens all the time. And this actually leads me to the second biggest problem I have with this platform. One freight guard report could mean no more loads for your company. Most of the brokers that I've worked with and that I've picked up loads from in the past, they have told me that they rely heavily on Carrier 411, okay? It's not just 1 or 2 brokers. Most of the industry, most of the freight brokers in this industry, they rely heavily on this one platform. So even if a report is 100% false against you, even if there's one false report against you, other brokers will see that report and they're going to take it at face value and they're going to refuse to work with you. There's no way for you to respond to it. They don't care if you present them with evidence. One false report could mean that your entire trucking company is done. And again, even if you prove the broker is lying, the damage is already done. You can't even force them to take down the report. So you really have no repercussion. Which brings me to the third major problem that I have with this. There's no real way to fight back. Now you might be asking yourself, well, okay, if I get a freight guard report against my trucking company, what options do I have? How do I get it removed off my record so I can start working with brokers again? You're not going to want to hear this answer, but it's the truth. The only way you can get it removed is by begging the broker who put it up in the first place to remove it for you. Think about how dumb that is, how stupid of a system that is, okay? There's no checks and balances. It gives complete leverage to one party over the other. So this broker who put up a fake report, they're the only ones that can help you remove it. It's a completely backwards system. And think about how much leverage they get. They can literally strong arm you into accepting their bogus conditions. If the broker doesn't want to pay you layover, if they don't want to pay you detention, they can literally get you to bend the knee just with the threat of freight guard reports. So again, the only way you can get it removed is by begging the broker to do it and just accepting their conditions. That's completely bogus. Now, what if they refuse? Well, in that case, your only other option is to hire a lawyer. But think about it. Even in the best case scenario, if you end up going with that option, you take legal action, it's going to take months and months for this entire legal process to go through. It's going to cost thousands of dollars out of your pocket, and there's no guarantee of success. If you guys know anything about the US justice system or the legal system, you know that it takes forever to go through. It's very, very expensive. And also, it's very difficult to prove defamation. You literally have to prove that the broker intended to lie, they purposely lied to hurt your business, to make sure that you make less money as a business, which is very, very difficult to do. Now, most small carriers, they don't have the time or the money or the resources to fight back against these massive brokerages. And brokers know that, okay? They're not stupid. They know that they can strong arm these small carriers, these small truckers, owner-operators into doing what they want. And as I've shown you, there's very little you can do to fight back, and Carrier 411, the platform, it doesn't help you out in any way to fight against these bad actors in their community. Now, you would think after these massive lawsuits, that have involved the use of Carrier 411, after these massive lawsuits that carriers have won, you would think that Carrier 411 would do something. They would change something about their platform to make it less dangerous for truckers. But instead, with the latest update that they just came out with, they have made this platform 10 times more dangerous for truckers. And I'm not exaggerating. If you don't know what I'm talking about, in October 2024, Carrier 411 secretly rolled out a brand new update without telling anyone. And in that update, they made those freight card reports that I've been telling you guys about, the ones that brokers file. They have made those freight card reports completely permanent. So in the past, you could actually negotiate with the broker and hopefully get them to remove the report. Sometimes it takes you a week to even figure out that you have a report filed against your company because again, there's no way for you to create an account and check to track and see you have these reports against you. But now, under this new update, you only have 72 hours to remove a freight card report against your company. And if for some odd reason you can't convince the broker to remove it in that time, it will stay on your record forever. Okay, and when I say forever, I mean forever. Even the broker can't remove it at that point. So even if the report is false, even if the broker made a mistake, even if you have proof that the accusations being made are a complete lie, there's nothing you can do. And just to make this even worse, Carrier 411 now allows brokers to blacklist you for additional ridiculous reasons, okay? So some of these new freight card report categories that I'll just list off right now. The first one, hiring a dispatcher outside the US. Just so you guys know, dispatching is completely legal. The FMCSA just came out with brand new rules for what a bona fide agent is and what a freight broker is, what the distinction is between the two. But being a bona fide agent, an independent dispatcher, it's completely legal and it's set the standard by the FMCSA, the body that governs the entire trucking industry. So whether you personally like or dislike dispatchers, it doesn't matter. It's legal. But on Carrier 411, you can actually get blacklisted for having a dispatcher. Now, I know some of you might think that is completely okay, but how about this next one? Filing a claim for non-payment. So if a broker doesn't pay you and you try to file a claim against their bond or their insurance, they can blacklist you for that reason, for coming after them to get paid for the load that you delivered. Or how about this one? Disputing a freight card report. So if you reach out to the broker and you try to get them to take down their initial report, they can now file on another freight card report and use this as a reason. Okay, just to add insult to injury. If you refuse to track a load, there's another reason. If you request extra payment for heavier loads or for detention, there's another reason. I hope you guys can see how this platform is no longer just a vetting tool. Okay, it's not just a simple vetting tool that brokers use to, determine who's a good carrier and who's a bad carrier. This has become a weapon that brokers can now use to destroy trucking companies with absolutely zero accountability. And look, I don't want you to just leave this video thinking, okay, wow, Carrier 411 is bad, and then just completely forget about it. Because this is just one of the many ways that truckers are being taken advantage of in this industry right now. If you think about it, freight rates are getting worse, brokers are taking bigger and bigger cuts, and there's a reason why trucking has been in a recession for many years now. And with the new tariffs, you could argue that things are just going to get worse for truckers. So if you think Carrier 411 is bad, you need to watch this video right here, where I'm going to break down another scam, another lie that is being pushed by mega carriers on the government, which is about the driver shortage. So if you want to see how all of that is a complete lie, then click this video, check out my free truck dispatching course, and I'll see you in the next one.